Girls, let's stop being a slave to this ridiculous sexist fashion. Let's not support an industry that permanently disfigures and disables women around the world. Hey free girl, so I just woke up and it's almost 2018. So before I get into today's important topic of high heels, I want to say a big thank you to those of you who have been watching me in 2017. And to bring in the new year, I have a very special 50% off my ebook bundle today only for 24 hours. So that includes both my original totally raw Go Fruit Yourself ebook plus the popular The Raw Till 4 diet. So instead of $50, you will pay less than $25 for both of my books. This is a very good deal. I put a lot of time, a lot of money into these books, so you're basically getting two for the price of one. And I doubt I'm going to be doing this kind of deal again for a very long time. So make sure you check it out. All the results I've gotten over the years are all detailed in these books. Over 55 color recipes, 30-day meal planner, 4-week shopping list, 4-week exercise plan, special food pyramid, and so much more. So you must use the discount code FREE2018, all lowercase. The discount code is in the description below, so check that out. Okay, so let's get on to the high heels. But firstly, let me put this disclaimer out there first. If you wear heels, which you probably do if you're watching my videos, remember, this is not a personal attack against you. Don't make it that. You know, the irony is that I'm actually trying to help educate you and liberate you from what is in fact a harmful cultural practice that supports a system of abuse. I do not, dislike women who wear high heels, of course. I used to wear them myself. However, I no longer support the wearing of them, as I do not support the exploitation and oppression of my fellow sisters. Personally, I haven't worn high heels for over 10 years now, but before I was a regular wearer, mainly to work and nightclubs. I would squash my broad feet, you saw my broad feet in the other video, and my long toes painfully into these dainty, narrow fashion shoes. I even had one job where it was compulsory for women to wear heels. Did men have to? No, of course not. It was awkward, restrictive, and degrading, but at the time they appeared to make me feel more confident. After all, they did important things like perk my bum up and lengthen my short legs, and guys found me more sexy, so it must be worth it, right? Wrong. I was lying to myself. I was conditioned by Hollywood and the media, and I was suffering from this deep social and cultural indoctrination. I mean, let's get real, girls. High heels are an instrument of torture for women around the world. And I will no longer stay silent about it, and I know it's going to offend a lot of you. I'm sure many of you have heard of foot binding, the ancient Chinese custom which crippled millions of women over the course of 1,000 years by binding their feet to modify the shape. Interestingly and alarmingly, as you walk in your high heels, your feet are arched at a similar debilitating angle to that achieved permanently in foot binding. It's pretty crazy. Constricted blood vessels, bunions, hammer toes, permanent disfigurement, crooked feet, spinal damage, sprained ankles, painful calves, blisters, tripping injuries, lower back and foot pain. The risk of wearing these fancy pieces of garbage is endless, especially the long-term risk. My mum actually told me that most of the women in her age group have permanent foot problems due to a lifetime of wearing heels. And not all high heels either. These women are permanently disfigured by fashion. There's no practical purpose to wearing heels. They are dangerous, and when you really step back and think about it, they look ridiculous. Women awkwardly strutting down the road, occasionally tripping, swaying, and even collapsing as they try to reach their destination, which is usually like a few hundred meters away. And yes, this is all before alcohol. Sure, some of you might be like, well, I walk well in heels and enjoy them. It's my choice. Yes, it is your choice to wear heels, but that doesn't make the actual heels any less harmful to your health and to the general status of women in society. So what do I mean by that? Well, wearing high heels is just another example, like makeup and shaving, of conforming to a sexist standard set by the media and by big industries. You're being a slave to big industries and to what other people think. When we wear heels, we are supporting an anti-female system and helping maintain this capitalist ruling power. Just look it up, do your research. I mean, how many men do you see wobbling down the street, looking like fragile flowers needing to be saved? None, of course. And this is really worth thinking more deeply about. Most women won't make this connection, and I didn't either for a long time, but Sheila Jeffreys brings up a really important, interesting point in her book called Beauty and Misogyny. So women are immediately recognizable as they walk with difficulty on their toes in public places. Thus, high heels enable women to complement the male sex role of masculinity, in which men look sturdy and have both feet firmly on the ground with clear evidence of female fragility. Got that female on the elbow, Men's masculinity is confirmed most strongly thereby. They may even have to help women up curbs and out of cars because they are liable to fall and twist an ankle. Girls, you can't run away when you are in heels, or you risk actually smashing your face on the pavement. You are in a weakened, vulnerable state, and that is not good. I know many of you will argue that you love wearing heels, that it empowers you, and that you don't do it for anyone else. This is where I strongly disagree. Think about it. Would you strut down the street in your heels for hours if you were the last person left on earth? Think about it. Of course you wouldn't. You're not stupid. You have simply been conditioned by your environment, and it's okay to admit that. We all have to some degree, and we're all at different stages of coming out of that. As I've said before, by the time the average Western teenager hits 18, she has been assaulted with over 100,000 beauty-related ads. Ads, of course, featuring high heels. And then we have Instagram. Instagram is rife with awkward, expensive high heels being proudly displayed, so it's little wonder young girls feel totally obligated to conform to a certain standard set by media and enforced, by society. Girls often don't recognize this themselves, as I didn't, due to this pervasive indoctrination since birth. So the act of embracing your true natural self becomes understandably extremely scary and an unacceptable path to take, because the rejection of these cultural practices can bring mockery, rejection, and even anger in others, especially when it comes to the hair removal topic. We can then quite accurately pinpoint that our choice to follow certain cultural practices is heavily influenced by the expectations placed on us by the greater herd, always aligned with the current beauty standard, think about it, and ingrained in us to the point that we can no longer see it, and we'll even defend it. Not that even we can no longer see it, that we've never seen it. We've never seen that there's a problem. And that's why I'm here to, show you girls and say, hey, look at this. This is not okay. Please educate yourself and bring awareness to your life. It's important to have a conversation about why we actually make the choices we do, and to be honest with ourselves about how societal pressures heavily influence those choices, and whether it's even possible to make a choice in line with the popular culture that is completely devoid of outside influences. One reason that we've been conditioned to wear these ridiculous contraptions is to create a clear difference between men and women. Gender marketing, just like makeup and hair removal, this not only feeds this money-hungry capitalist system through the beauty industry, but it also enforces gender roles. A gender role and stereotypes as well. As far as I understand, a gender role is basically a set of social norms dictating the types of behaviors which are generally considered acceptable, appropriate, or desirable for people based on their actual or perceived sex or sexuality. So it's very, very important that you realize this gender marketing is behind, why you're doing what you're doing, why you feel a certain way, why you think shaving is cleaner, why you think it's more hygienic. It is a very corrupt, deceptive industry and practice. Girls, let's stop being a slave to this ridiculous sexist fashion. Let's not support an industry that permanently disfigures and disables women around the world. You are better than that, and you are perfect as your true, authentic self.